We've talked about Jonas Corpazala, we've talked about every other player on the team, and we've saved the best till last. Today, we're going to be talking all about Elvis Merzlikins, and we're also going to be checking in with the Baby Blue Jackets as they head up to Traverse City to start their rookie tournament. That's all coming up today on Locked On Blue Jackets.
Locked On Blue Jackets, your daily podcast on the Columbus Blue Jackets, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Blue Jackets. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I am, as always, your host, Jay Foster, here to bring you news, stories, trials, ranting, yelling, joy, all of the above and more about your favorite team and mine, the Columbus Blue Jackets. Before we get started, I want to thank everyone for making this your first listen of the day every day. Locked On Blue Jacket is free and available on all podcast platforms and also over on YouTube. So if you haven't checked us out over there, we are on our way to our next 100 subscribers. So feel free to hit that button. And let's talk goaltending, which has kind of been the theme of the last few episodes. And I'm super excited for this episode because I don't think it's a secret. I'm a big Elvis Merzlikins fan over here, and I think we haven't even seen the best he's got yet. So Merzlikins had kind of a Tarasov like, or I guess Taras would have a Merzlikins like start to his career. Merzlikins was drafted by the Blue Jackets and then decided essentially that he was gonna stay in Switzerland, which is where he'd been playing. He's from Riga, Latvia. Played with HC Lugano as his junior career. Basically moved to Switzerland immediately, played there for many years, and then at the end of the 2019 season, Sergei Bobrovsky left, and Merzlikins was like, right, it's time to come over now. So he came over, signed his entry-level contract, played like one game for the Monsters, 2 games for the Monsters, and then was a Blue Jacket. Had a really strong rookie season, had a 923 save percentage in his first season, played 33 games, went 13-9-8. That was also the he had 5 shutouts in 8 games or something just truly bonkers like that. His all 5 shutouts came like in the space of 8 games. It was bananas. I loved it. Since then, he's kind of had a couple of dips. He finished last season, or the season before last, with a 916. Last season finished with a 907. However, between those 2 seasons, obviously, he lost his best friend. Matisse Kavlenix passed away basically in front of him. And I think that affected him more than he expected. He's talked a bit about the cannon being a problem in terms of, loud, sudden bangs, things like that. So the key part here is I'm expecting big things out of Elvis this season. I think he's going to come back stronger, better, faster. Anything else in that Justin Timberlake song, he's going to do it. And here's why. We've talked before about evaluating goaltending, and you look at goalies, and the important thing when evaluating goalies, especially young goalies, do they stop pucks? And Elvis Merzlikins, basically since he came into the league, his save percentage has been good since he went pro. Essentially, he's had an above 900 save percentage anytime he's played over like 4 games. So he had a sub 800, he had a sub 900 save percentage for Latvia in 2014-15. He played 4 games and had an 813 save percentage. Similarly, with the World Championships this year, he had an 862 in 5 games. So anytime he's played like more than literally 5 or 6 games, he's had an above 900 save percentage. He stops pucks. He just does. He had a 946 in 2 playoff games for the Blue Jackets in 2019-20. He had a 949 in 2 games for the Monsters, but like you look at all the way back to playing for Switzerland, he had a 921, a 921, a 916, a 922, a 913, a 924 in his rookie season for HU Lugano, which was when he was, I believe, literally 16 years old. 18 years old in his rookie season for them. So he stops pucks. And even on a quote unquote down year for the Blue Jackets, he still had a 907 save percentage. Yeah, he had a pretty high goal GAA. Yeah, he was under 500 as a goalie, but as I've talked about before, wins are not a goalie stat. I don't even really consider goals against average a goalie stat, frankly. And I'm not going to get into all of that at this moment in time, because instead, I'm going to tell you all about one of our sponsors. But in a minute, we're going to talk about, is Elvis the goalie of the future? Why not? And we're going to take a quick look into his stats a little bit more. But first, I've got to tell you all about cookie dough chunk puffs. They're light, chewy, soft, marshmallowy, delicious, and they are brand new over at Built Bar. So if you haven't tried them, then you really need to. And of course, like every Built Bar, they're covered in 100% real chocolate. All the joys of eating cookie dough without the hassle of making it. Plus, with 160 calories and 15 grams of protein, it's good for you as well. So run to built.com now, get a box for you, get a box for the family, or get 2 boxes for yourself. I'm not your boss. If you want to buy a bunch of Built Bars and hide them away, then I support that. That's what I do. So live your best life. Get cookie dough chunk puffs, whether you need a snack for your workout, a late night treat, you want a snack, a quick bite. If, like me, you are bad at eating breakfast, then Built Bars count as a breakfast as well. It's the perfect protein bar. They taste better than a candy bar, so ditch the calories, the fat, and the sugar. And go to built.com to grab yourself a Built Bar. And here's the best bit. If you use promo code LOCKEDON15, you can get 15% off your order. Once again, that is promo code LOCKEDON15, LOCKEDON15. You can get 15% off your order. So run, don't walk, and grab yourself some of the new Built Bars. So let's talk a little bit more about Merzlikins' performance this season. I said I was going to dive into the stats a little bit, which is something that I did a while ago. I think in the off season, a friend of the show put together some stats from a stats website to basically look at, do the team play differently in front of Elvis than they do in front of Corpusalo? And the answer is kind of no. And the longer form answer is no, and here's why. And you could see Elvis is making the saves that Corpusalo isn't. Is the short version of the long version. Because you look at the expected save percentage, you look at the quality of competition, you look at the shots that they're both facing. Elvis is just making more high danger saves. He's making more low danger saves. He's making more rebound saves. Like, he's just a better goalie than Corpusalo. And I've sang many praises for Corpusalo in Monday's episode, but unfortunately, Elvis seems to have overtaken him both in terms of on ice stuff and also kind of perception from the coaching staff, from the general managers, which you could see in the contracts that I talked about again on Monday. Elvis is signed for the next 5 years at 5.4 million. Corpusalo is making 1.3 million this upcoming season and then is a UFA. So again, I would expect Corpusalo to not be with the team as of next season, maybe as soon as the trade deadline, maybe even earlier. It really depends on, a handful of different things. It depends on how Merzlikins plays. It depends on how Tarasov plays down in Cleveland. If he's killing it in Cleveland and they get a good offer for Corpusalo, if another team loses a goalie, for example, Vegas lost both of their goalies, they are going to be going with rookie Logan Thompson as their starter this season. If they decide, hey, we want a veteran goalie either to back him up or to play games because he's not doing it right now, that could be an option for Corpusalo. It's really all kind of up in the air. But I think the main takeaway from all of this, from looking at the goalies, is Elvis is the team's choice for the starter of at least the near future and probably beyond that as well. He signed for 5 years. I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, that's a big contract for a guy that's been here for 3 years and isn't very good." Which to you, I say, shut up. Essentially, his NHL save percentage so far is 913, with a goals against average of 2.88. He's got 9 shutouts and a record of 48, 44, and 20. So that's the wins aren't there, but wins are a team stat. Wins are not a goalie stat. I am going to make a sign and hang it up somewhere over here for the season, I think, that just says that, so I can point at it. Maybe I'll even tap the sign. Who knows? But the point I'm making here is, okay, maybe Elvis is not a $5 million goalie yet, but he's also not bad. He is, in fact, quite good. And I still think he has more to show us. He is admittedly 28 years old, so he's probably kind of hitting his prime round about now. But I'm expecting, like I said, I'm expecting big, big things from Elvis this season. And I can't wait to see how he comes into the season, how he comes into training camp. I think he's a really fun, dynamic, exciting goalie to watch, even when he's maybe not playing very well. I think he's still exciting to watch. So I'm fully on board for 5 more years of Elvis. Frankly, I really want an Elvis jersey, but I think I've mentioned my jersey curse on the show before. If I buy a jersey, they get traded, so I will not be getting an Elvis jersey, and that's the unfortunate truth of the matter. So that's that. In a minute, we're going to talk about the Traverse City tournament because it starts today and it's going to be super exciting, I think. So that's what's coming up next on Locked On Blue Jackets. So, Traverse City, they do it every year. There are 5 teams taking part this season, I believe. It's going to be the Blue Jackets, who typically do quite well. They've won the tournament 5 times, and they went 4-0 last season when there wasn't even really a tournament, so to speak. It was more kind of a round robin thing where everyone played everyone, and the Blue Jackets went 4-0, so pretty good. Real kind of coming out party for Cheetah, who I believe scored 4 goals in 3 games. Cole Sillinger scored 3 goals in 3 games. So big things from Blue Jackets prospects usually happen at this tournament. So they're going to be playing the Dallas Stars, the Red Wings, the St. Louis Blues, and the Toronto Maple Leafs. And the reason I'm excited is there are a bunch of really fun guys coming to this tournament. So Kent Johnson, who obviously made his NHL debut last season, they've got Kirill Marchenko, who I'm super, super excited about. They've got a bunch of guys that they drafted in this draft just gone. They've got Luka Delbert-Baluz is going to be there. John Dumais is going to be there. Denton Matejchuk is going to be there. David Jiricek is going to be there. Like, it's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. So in terms of the roster, the forwards, you've got Kent Johnson. You've got Ben Boyd, who played in the QMJHL last season. Luka Delbert-Baluz, drafted this year. Jordan Dumais, drafted this year. James Malatesta, who is kind of an underrated guy, I think. I've liked him when I've watched him play with the Monsters. Owen Sillinger, brother of Cole Sillinger, signed a PTO for the Monsters last season, and then I believe has signed a full contract for this season. So he kind of turned up and did pretty good showing. Martin Rysavy is going to be there. Mikhail Poutier is going to be there. He just signed his ECHL after his ECHL. Wow, his ELC. I can talk. After a really strong season in Finland, Liam Howell is going to be there. Kirill Marchenko, I've mentioned. I'm super excited about that. Roman Ashan is going to be there. He had a really strong end to the season after signing with the Monsters. Excuse me. Evan Veerling, Samuel Huo. And then defenseman, you've got Denton Matejchuk, drafted this season. Marcus Bjork, David Jiricek. Obviously, everyone's really excited about that. Samuel Konazko, who has been playing over in the WHL. And again, I'm really excited about. Cole Clayton is going to be there. He's been playing for the Monsters for at least a season. Stanislav Svozil, again, really, really excited about. And Ole Bjorkvik-Holm, who I believe will be making the jump to the Monsters this season. He played a couple of seasons ago in COVID because the OHL wasn't functioning, and then had to go back to the OHL because he wasn't 20 years old. And now I believe he's turned 20, so he will be back with Monsters this season. So super excited about that. Jet Greaves, who really kind of came out of nowhere last Traverse City, is going to be there. And also so is Pavel Kajin, who I believe is a guy just coming out of juniors, and the Blue Jackets or the Monsters have kind of just signed him as a goalie to see how he goes. So really, really exciting roster is the short version of the long version. And I'm, like I said, super, super excited. That line, the top line, I think is going to be Kent Johnson centering Marchenko and Poutier. That's going to be fun. I'm looking for Johnson and Marchenko specifically. Also kind of Poutier, I guess. Although I still think he goes back to Europe this season. Like, I'm looking for those two guys, especially to have a big, big tournament. I think David Juracek is going to, it sounds silly to be like he's going to surprise a lot of people, but I still think there are people that out there that are like, oh, he's only okay. Denton Matejchuk as well. I think he could have a sneaky good tournament. So, and I also think Jordan Dumais, who was somehow made it to the third round of the draft, despite like leading his team. And also, I think he was like second in the entire QMJHL for scoring this season. And because he's 5'9", they are kind of overlooking him. So lots and lots and lots of super exciting players. So that's what we're going to be talking about for the next few episodes. Is we're going to be looking at Traverse City. We're going to be keeping up with the prospects, who's impressing us, who are we excited about, things like that. And that's going to be tomorrow's episode. Is we'll take a look at the first game of the Traverse City tournament. They're streaming it on bluejackets.com and also on Twitter, I believe. So I will be watching that. If you want to watch that as well, then bluejackets.com is the place to go. But that's it from me today. So thank you once again for listening. I've been Jay Foster. You can find me on Twitter at _Jacob Foster, JAKOBFORSTER. You can find the podcast at LO_Blue Jackets. If you have comments, questions, criticisms, you can email me at lockedonbluejackets@gmail.com. We're going to have a little bit of a mailbag in tomorrow's episode. So if you have questions, you can comment on this video. You can email me. You can @ me on Twitter. Any or all of the above. Just drop me a question. Let's talk Blue Jackets. Let's talk prospects. Let's talk NHL. Anything you want. So looking forward to that. We are your first listen of the day, and I appreciate that. So keep making us your first listen of the day every day. We are free and available on all podcast platforms, over on YouTube. Like I said, if you haven't subscribed on YouTube, then it would be really rad if you did, honestly. So that's my little sales pitch. It would be super great to hit like 250 subs, maybe 300 subs by the start of the season next month. So if you want to help out with that, that would be super awesome. And I think that's everything from my little outro spiel. Thank you again for listening. Enjoy your Thursday. Check out bluejackets.com for Traverse City stuff. And until tomorrow, make sure you stay locked on.